Hey everyone, welcome back to the Vineyard Creative Online Festival that we've been hosting today. This has been such an incredible gift to me, just such a blast to be able to gather together with all these different creatives from across Canada, to the US. We've had people contributing from the UK. It's just been what an incredible time, and just so much generosity, both in just the people who are presenting creative work, as well as those of you who are following along and commenting, and just so much encouragement and so much just mutuality that's going on. I'm just so very grateful for this. So I'm just going to open again with a word of prayer, and also, but before we do that, just to kind of frame this, I know that many of you probably who are watching have been watching all the way along, and so by now you know the deal, you know how this works. But for those who are maybe kind of coming to this fresh, so this is a festival. This is not meant to be slick. It's not slick. We are in my office space working with some basic technology and just kind of hoping for the best. And so far, the Lord has been very gracious to us in this time. But just ask for lots of grace if we have some technical hiccups or whatever that we may encounter. There have been a few that have happened so far, but none that have detracted, I think, from the overall beauty of the moments that we've been able to share together, and the unique ways that we've been able to experience the presence of God. And I say that sort of thing, I don't say that sort of thing lightly, not at all. But I have personally, and I know many others, just looking at some of the comments, have really been engaging with the nearness and the presence of God throughout this, and so I have great anticipation for what we step into here this evening. What's for us in the evening, and so. Yeah, to that end, I just want to encourage you, Colleen, hi, I see you there. I just want to encourage you throughout this to continue to comment, to feedback throughout. Sometimes we're able to ask questions of the guests who are, yeah, sorry, I'm just seeing one of the comments coming up. They're delightfully imperfect. That's the thing. I mean, and that's kind of who we are, right? So I'm down with that. But yeah, just this experience of community is really, really important. Experience of community inside of creativity. This is not, we have some really excellent people who are presenting, but this is not really about a showcase or about how, this is about having a generous space where we get to just really share and hear one another and be moved by each other's stories through this time. So I'm just really grateful that you've taken the time to hang out here. So I'm just going to say a prayer, and then in a minute or two, I'm just going to invite David Ruse to come and to join us with a song. So I'm just going to let him know that he'll be up in a minute or so. And this is what I'm talking about with there is no silent fourth wall where there's no army of tech people working in behind here. So yeah. So Lord, we thank you as we pray, or as I seem to pray so often these days. We thank you for your kindness to us, and Lord, there are times in this walk, in this journey right now, where maybe we need to fight to perceive your kindness, where we need to wrestle down some of our fears or anxieties, or just all of the chaos that sometimes seems to surround, and Lord, we just really want to celebrate who you are to us tonight, and how you speak to us through the creativity of our community. And so, Lord, we ask that you would orient us towards your presence tonight, that we would shift direction and face you, Lord. You are the God who creates. You are the God who is still creating. One of the ideas that came out earlier was this idea that the Lord is not just in the process of, he's not just in the restoration business, but he's in the new creation business. And that's such a powerful thing. And so that's part of what we are engaging in the midst of this, is actually this new creation space. So Lord, we ask that you would surround us and connect us in this time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And so with that, I'm just going to invite David to join me here, and we can get started. Hello, Mr. David. Hi, how you doing, man? I don't think we can hear you yet. Can you unmute yourself? I think you might need to do that. I think you're muted. Don't have any audio from you yet. Yeah, I think you may need to go to your computer and actually physically unmute. And this is the beginning. Nope, nothing. I know it was working just a moment ago because we were chatting in the other room, but we are still not. Oh, you know what? It's all my fault, man. Talk again.
You didn't turn me on. Am I there now?
Yeah, you're totally there now.
This is brilliant. I mean, you are doing the marathon, dude. So you have a bandwidth of grace that is Bujongo. So, my word, I was starting to just have this worst feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
I think we've all gone through this about 1,000 times the last 5 weeks, though.
Well,
trying to learn all this stuff.
This is exactly it. I mean, this is kind of like the marker for a lot of us, anyways, of the COVID season is navigating this like whole new level of technology, and it's it is a gift to us. I mean, there's no question, it's a gift.
Yep.
But
yeah. But we are in the deep end of the pool, brother.
We are indeed. So hey, I am. This is awesome. I'm super excited. David played like a couple of bits of this song that he's going to present in a minute, and I'm super excited to hear that. I just want to take a minute before we do that and just say that here's a guy who I just really like an awful lot. It's really good to see you. It's good to share this space. And this is the funny thing, and we've mentioned this a couple times, but we're actually obviously we're not in the same space, right? We're separated by however many 5,000 kilometers or something. Yeah. But we're sharing time, and we're sharing attention, and the same goes out to everyone who's tuning in from wherever. This is real community. It's not the same as what we long for, right? To be able to be present and to to have our actual ears, hear an actual piano in the actual same room and all that kind of wonderful stuff. That day will come again. But I'm just really grateful to be here with you. So
that's great, man. Yeah. It is mutual.
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you the floor.
What's that?
I'm going to give you you got the floor. So go for it.
Oh no, I was just going to say I had this weird little moment because I was really wrestling, not with the technology or the creativity. I mean, in fact, I could go so far down that rabbit hole and be absolutely happy, but just that terror that you would lose authenticity and feel the pressure to become something. Yeah. Another pseudo, whatever, right? Yeah. With social media, for all its gifting, it also can create sort of this pseudo thing. But then I had this, I don't know, it was just a thought. Like, if God is transcending space and time anyway, why couldn't he just, mess with a virtual space, Jesus coming through the walls, whatever, all that, just kind of, Lord, okay, we'll put this in your hands and just trust that you'll keep it real, Pretty cool.
That's actually a profound thought. This, that idea that Jesus could actually come into this space in the same way that he showed up in. That's one worth thinking about.
Yeah, and then we've been wrestling with the Eucharist. I know some of my certain traditions and denominations. They're on complete hiatus from celebrating the Eucharist. Because so deep in the theology and the understanding is, either a priest has to be present, but even more than that, the community must be physically present in order for the Eucharist to be. So I kind of wrestled and I thought, does this feel fake? And then it was that thing of, at least in the Vineyard, our sacramental sensibilities are just leaning enough into the expectation of the presence of the Spirit that he can build this spiritual house, even though our physical house is scattered and shattered. He can draw us together in this space and it actually be authentic and an actual true sense of connection. So we're discovering that. I think it's been an amazing adventure. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Now I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
No,
it's
good. This is, as I said a couple times. I mean, part of the thing is like we gather around the creative spaces and presentations and whatever that's the songs or whatever. But the other thing is just it's so much fun to gather with creative people and just kind of chase the rabbit and see where it goes, because it's usually a beautiful place.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, hey man, what are you gonna? Yeah, let's. What are you gonna play for us, David?
Well, you want me to say a little bit about it, or just jump in?
No, you can say whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't. It's kind of an interesting thing. I've been thrust into this new normal, and for various and sundry reasons, Anita and I were pretty much, we were in lockdown, self-isolation, but it stretched to well over, well into a 6-week period of not leaving literally our property or our space. I know many others have been in that reality, but I've just found so much life and creativity. I know there was the Spirit was giving us some indication that would be it, but a strange thing for me, and a lot of people don't know this about me, is I actually am introverted. Like I'm more heavy on that side, although I love being with people and stuff. So I actually think the introverted side of me has actually been fed and filled up, maybe for the first time in my life since I was a kid. And I almost feel bad. Like and I've been sick, like been fighting stuff, and the workload has not diminished. It's gone but I am so full of life. So anyway, late at night, my out of tune grand behind me here, which I'm not using now, and I haven't been able to get a piano tuner in because of all this COVID stuff. But I just had this. It was just kind of rolling and rolling and rolling. It was really late at night, and I could just hear this phrase, when the sparrow hits the ground. It was like this, like it was speaking, and I thought, now where would this take me? And it just kind of rolled over and over, and then I just started pulling deep into imagery from Isaiah. And so the tune's called "The Thorn Bush Will Bow." And that was just the other phrase that was coming. So I had that little thing there, and then I had "Thorn bush will bow in the healing breeze of the myrtle trees." And I thought, is this even right? So it must have been deep in there somewhere, reading Isaiah 50-something, whatever it is. And I went, and it's actually there. And the crazy thing was, the myrtle is representative of healing. And as the more I pondered and the more I just started distilling around melody and lyric and concept, it felt like, wow, this is really apropos for now. And just to believe for the Spirit in whatever now we have in the not yet, the healing breezes just coming over our minds and our bodies and our souls and our spirits in this time. So yeah. So it's going to pull deep from Isaiah, a little bit of a 2 Timothy shout out to all those who long, a crown of justice waits, and then the sparrow, from Jesus. So this is it.
Love it.
You want to hit it?
Hit it.
To all those who mourn, beauty crowns your head. There is precious oil that makes the spirit glad again, a sacrifice of praise, a fragrant offering. Sing your lament. Salvation is close at hand. To all those who long, a crown of justice waits. There's weeping in the night, but joy will rise as morning breaks. Though mountains fall while the earth is crumbling, all heaven's trembling, the righteous will stand like oaks of righteousness, strong and unwavering. When the sparrow hits the ground, it is under watching eye. Though the righteous tumble down, they get up again. When the brambles choke the soil, life is brimming underground. The meek will rise on eagle's wings, inheriting the earth. The mountains will sing midst the clapping trees as we go out in peace. The thorn bush will bow neath the healing breeze of the myrtle tree. As we go out in peace, the thorn bush will bow neath the healing breeze of the myrtle tree. The thorn bush will bow neath the healing breeze of the myrtle tree. Neath the healing breeze of the myrtle tree. Let your breezes blow, let your breezes blow on mind and soul and body and spirit. Let the healing on our minds, our souls, our bodies, our spirits. The healing breeze of the myrtle tree.
That is such a compelling place to inhabit, isn't it? Thank you. One of the things that was kind of resonating in me, I mean, there's a lot. The imagery that you're pulling from is obviously some of the richest that there is, right, in the scriptures. But one of the things that I was kind of hearing, there's a lot of stuff that is tenuous around us, or even institutions that are crumbling, and all kinds of big issues, and just that call that the Lord sees the sparrow, that the Lord is present in our own moments of uncertainty, our own, that some of the things that are the I don't know, the little deaths, or I don't know how the language is eluding me, but
Sure,
he sees us, and I just that was one of the places that brought me. That is a keeper. That one's going to stick around for a little while, man.
A few little live flubs, so everybody knows that was not pre-recorded, but I think it came across.
Oh man, no, that was lovely, and just some comments here. That the song was playing like a movie through Liv comments. The song was playing like a movie in my mind with beautiful imagery.
Wow.
And that's part of the gift of these things. Like
Exactly.
like the opening up of our capacity to see and to dream and to step into the promises of God. It's the language is there, but it's like a whole other kind of invitation, and
it stirs the imagination in the best of ways.
Yeah, I love it. That's kind of been like the theme today in a lot of ways, right? Seeing things a little bit new.
Very cool.
It's amazing.
Very good, man.
Yeah.
And huge kudos to you and your team, and whoever's helping you. This has been brilliant. Just pulling this off. It's been great.
Thanks, dude. It's been a labor of love, and I'm just I'm really grateful that it wasn't a big train wreck. So I'm just going to pull Brian and Cindy over in a second, but just while I'm kind of letting them know that, I don't know if you have like a couple of, a minute or two of just something that you want to speak out to the people who like, we've got creatives who are artists, as well as we're all creatives listening. So
this could be a little out of left field, and I'm just been reflecting a lot on this and be unpacking maybe some of it with our local community here tomorrow. But as I was prepping for Palm Sunday, I think I might have shared this in some national context before, but I just kept hearing pride goes before a fall. Pride goes before a fall. And I mean, I could pull on that thread in a million ways in our current scenarios and realities, but thinking just even about this kind of space in the creative, and just never to lose that edge of a little bit of risk. We want high excellence. We definitely want to make this our best foot forward in a lot of ways, but sometimes our best foot forward is the most vulnerable foot, and the clunky foot sometimes, not all the time, but and just even as we're engaging in our craft, to always have those open hands and be in awe of God, but also in awe of the creative process, be in awe of creation itself, be in awe of the life that is brimming all around us. As we are dying and isolating, nature is just coming alive. It's crazy, all the stuff that's coming in, from other places. Our backyard has just turned into a National Geographic special. It's like crazy. I could tell a lot of things, but one crazy thing is there's this little tiny little iridescent blue butterfly. We've got a bunch of them coming through the backyard every day. We've never seen them before. We've looked it up. Apparently they're common here in this part of British Columbia, but we've never seen them. And I think there's something about us being humbled that has allowed the beauty and the vibrancy and the life to begin to breathe around us, but also inside of us. And I just want to bless that and let the myrtle breezes blow on that part of who we are, and just see it come alive more and more and more. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, that's great. By the way, do you still have that butter? Remember when we were hanging out in the you came across that butterfly?
Yeah, we do.
That
the
perfect?
One that just landed and just kind of sat there.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that for a while, but
Yeah, no, it came to my mind. Anyway, thank you so much, man.
Oh,
It's a
totally.
great gift to
Fantastic.
us, and yeah, much love, my friend.
Huge love, many prayers, and yeah, greetings to everybody out there. This has been a good day. It's not over yet.
That's
Good
right.
day.
We
Yeah.
got some fun stuff coming up yet. So, all right,
All right,
man.
mate.
We'll see you
Thank you.
soon. Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. Take care.
Hello, Brian. How are ya? Cindy should be showing up here in just a moment too. I am hopeful. There we go. There's both of you. I didn't see you at first. There's Cindy. Hello.
Hey, Chris, it's so nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too. It's been a couple of passes around the sun.
Yeah, quite a few actually.
Yeah.
Really nice.
You look very California-ish at the moment, I have to.
Well, I admit I've been out by my pool today, so it's one of those kind of days. The sun is out, and it's just nice to be outside.
Beautiful. Oh, and hey, Brian, how are you this evening?
I'm good.
Yeah, awesome. I'm so grateful for the song you guys are presenting. So here's part of my story. I don't. You guys can introduce yourselves in a minute, but so part of the story here for me is Brian sent a link to the song that just released yesterday into the wilds, if I have that right, I think, and I listened to it, and immediately it was like my I got goosebumps, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good and so what I need to sing right now. And I've listened to it a whole bunch of times, and so Cindy and Brian, I just this is a beautiful song that you've written together, which is of course not a surprise, but wow, it's just so very good. So kudos.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Chris.
Yeah, so before we air the video, just give you guys a chance. I'm not able to remove myself from the screen, just the constraints of Zoom with three, so I'm just going to sit here like a third wheel. But if you guys wanted to speak to the process and just anything you want to say would be wonderful.
Cool. Well, I think Cindy, Cindy was kind of like the spark plug for this. So why don't you just briefly talk about the beginnings, Cindy?
Um, I had heard a podcast on being with a man named Joe Carter, and he traveled all over the world talking about Black spirituals, a type of genre of songs. And I was so moved by the way that they lived in the reality of pain and loss and suffering and trauma and all of that. But there was always hope underneath the song. And so I sent it to Brian and said, you got to hear this podcast, and let's write a spiritual the next time that I visit. And so that was right before we came up to you. And we spent time talking about friends that we know that were in the middle of loss or questions, not knowing what they were going to do next and where to go. And what we kept coming back to was that the one thing that we knew remained in the midst of those times was peace. And God's peace. And so we kept thinking about how we knew people in all types of situations. So we sang 3 different types. That's what we wrote. This was in 2018. So then when all of this, the virus came up, we were pretty amazed at the way that the lyrics really held to what we were. Hey, Ben.
Hey, everybody. This is our special needs son, Ben, wandering around the house. This is class. Awesome.
It's great.
So Brian got a hold of me and said, I think it might be time to record this song. And yeah, you take it from there.
Well, I mean, I one of the things that Cindy and I did a lot of talking about is how that real life is like this paradox, that there's beauty and pain and hope and despair and all of these things just, and they refuse to reconcile themselves, or like one side of the equation completely, stepping out of the picture. No, they're both there. And I think art is a way of expressing both sides of that equation. But I think and art begets more art. Like, I think it's so cool, like Cindy listens to a podcast with an artist who actually is deceased, but whose art lives on, and then that sparks something in us in a conversation, and then it's as a fruit of friendship. Cindy and I have been friends for 30 years, and we know each other quite well, and so the whole co-writing thing becomes just a fruit of friendship. It's a fruit of dialogue, and then both of our perspectives get put into the mix, in our personalities and the melodies and in the words. And I think one of the things we tend towards in a crisis like this is we want to just assert, we want to have control over our lives, and then we want to assert that God is in control. And sometimes I have to say, I'm not so sure that that's the most helpful thing. I think it's like a relinquish of control and saying, but yet God is present. God is here in the middle of whatever it is we're going through. So that's what, that's the song, and it came out, and we were so, fortunate to have Bobby Hartree available to produce, a veteran producer out of LA, a good friend of Cindy and Steve's, who I've wanted to work with forever and never worked out. So through Cindy, the guy who mixed it, Brian Cook, who mixes for, U2 and Train and Switchfoot, was hired to mix the song, and he was touched by the song, and on it goes, little bits of gifts of grace along the way. But it's all rooted in, I think, this art sparking other art, and then friendship, and then you just let it happen. And, because we started this song in summer of 2018, I remember when the song was basically finished, I thought, well, I don't know where this song fits. Like, I don't know if this song fits anywhere.
Right.
Like,
just the shape of Chris's heart, apparently.
there you go. And
We just weren't sure if it would ever find a home anywhere.
Yeah.
Truly. I mean, we thought there were a couple of situations. I called Brian and said, I have a friend who's going through something that's really difficult, and so if you could record that so that she could listen to it. Remember
so
that?
I sang it into my phone and sang it, dedicated to Diane, Cindy's friend. This is for you. So yeah, you just, one of the things I tell songwriters when I'm teaching songwriting workshops is we have to write songs that are needed before they're needed, so when they're needed, they're there. This feeling of like, you feel like you have to actually step out of your current time a little bit and create something.
Right.
Chris, you've I'm sure you've experienced that, and you've, so maybe we created this and started in 2018 because we needed it in 2020.
Yeah, no, I love that, and that's something that's come up a couple of times, is how circumstances sort of either that a song grows into a new circumstance, or sometimes a circumstance will come and all of a sudden the language shifts, not that the meaning behind the language shifts, and you go, oh, I didn't know that I was singing the song for this moment, but hey, here it is.
Like Carly Rearson before with her song, like
100%.
I'm just sitting there listening to it going, yeah, this is for now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wonderful. Well, hey, I'm gonna send this up. I'm just gonna get you guys just to mute yourselves, so that the background so it doesn't feed over into the song. Yeah, let's give this a listen.
rely on what remains. Your peace.
Yes. Thank you for the gift of that space that the song creates. I'm just seeing in the comments. I think that it creates a space for people to inhabit some of the uncomfortable or darker places that are going on in life, and it's like there's a place to of consolation and comfort in what you've created. So thank you for that. It's beautiful. Yeah. Just we're looking at the time here. We just have a couple of maybe a couple of minutes. Do you guys have anything that you just want to speak to as kind of a parting? You've already said so much, and not that you said so much, but that you've offered some great value.
Well, I need to say a huge thank you to Cindy for not just co-writing the song and singing it with me, but doing all the artwork. You know, the painting, when you see the single for this single, or the EP, the Everlasting Arms EP that this single is connected with, that's all Cindy painting. When you talk about this is a creative festival, I mean, Cindy, and she's just, I think, expressing her personality and the way she sees some of the world, and it was so moving to me when we were having a chat, and then she said, well, I'm just going to interpret this song now visually with a painting. And then when I saw it, I went, whoa, like, that's so, yeah, it was awesome. It was such a gift to me. So I don't know, Cindy, if you want to say something about that.
It was a gift to be asked. I think being able to listen and then put that to paper, and this is all new for me. So that was it really meant a lot to me to be able to be a part of it that way. Because I've never done that before, so that was kind of fun.
So here we are 30 years into our friendship and doing stuff together, and then we're just trying something new together, right? Mm-hmm. It's just fun.
That's brilliant. Yeah, so good. And also a shout out to Luke Vandevert, who I know put the really, really excellent video together. And I know there are probably other avenues, but I know that the handwriting is you, Brian, right? You're physically writing that out. And so, which actually really translates for me, again, just in terms of there being a real authenticity in this. So I just, kudos. I'm such a big, I'm just, fan isn't the right word. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for the song. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for the
Thanks, Chris. Good to see you.
Yes, you too. We'll hopefully all see each other again, like for real sometime. You know, the day's coming. So,
That's right.
Great affection to both of you, and thank you for taking some time with us today. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Take care. My friend, Mr. Tom Vogel.
Hi, hello there, Chris.
Hey, sir.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Nice to see you as well. I'm looking forward to this. By way of introduction, so Tom is a dear friend. He lives down the road about half an hour. Although we haven't shared space for a while.
I know.
Yeah,
What's that?
yeah, but we have had virtual dinners, and so that's been nice. I'm so grateful that Tom said yes when I said, "Hey, we're doing this thing, and I'd love to have you be part of it." And so here's the thing, and I'll let Tom set up. Tom's with everything that he does, he tells a story. And so sometimes he literally tells a story, and sometimes he finds various other ways to tell stories. And so he has prepared for us a story that I'm going to play in a minute. And I do want to caveat, because the interesting thing about Tom, and I know he loves this, is that he's a hard person to place in a roster. He kind of stands alone. And Brian kind of set this up well when he said just a moment ago that sometimes things that are like really sorrowful and difficult, and things that are full of either joy or humor or whatever, we sometimes want to compartmentalize them, right, and kind of have a natural flow. But life is such that sometimes we have the sort of deep agony of sorrow, and we also have joy that's taking place at the same time, or just or the sacred and the profane, or whatever.
Oh, you took my line.
Well, it's not.
It's great. I love it.
You taught me well. You taught me well, Obi-Wan. I guess that make me anyway. Yeah. So just to say, we are hitting a new beat with Tom here. And I'm really grateful for it too. So Tom, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your story.
Sure.
So I'll give you the floor, and then you just let me know when you want me to roll the video.
Okay, great. Well, I should say this, that I always when I teach photography, because I'm a photographer by my career, love it. But whenever I teach students, I'd say, look, I have a confession to make, and here these kids are paying me to teach them photography, and I'd say, I have this confession, I'm not a photographer, and they'd laugh, and I'd laugh along, like, no, seriously, I'm not a photographer. No, seriously, I'm not a photographer. And then they start to grumble, we're paying for this. I go, no, the confession is I'm a storyteller. Just so happens photography is one of the mediums I love. Here's what I noticed today. We've been watching throughout the day, actually, right? First thing in the morning, we logged on, both my wife and I, Carolyn, and we have been having a wonderful time watching what's been going on throughout the whole day. It's been so enriching. And here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that every single dot and tittle of storytellers. There's not a single story missed all day long. Talk about it. I'm just swimming in storytellers. That's what it is. And art is that. It's just telling the greater story. And there is a great story going on right now. And in a way, it is a spooky time. First of all, this is very unprecedented for us. Mind you, I guess the people back in the Black Plague time would probably differ. But now we have our own version of that. And it's epic. But in all of this huge time, there's this element of a grand scale story happening, and we're in the middle of it. There's a certain kind of privilege to be in the middle of some epic event on this planet. We've wallowed through with, a number of, years of this, that, and the other, but this is pretty big time. And I think we can really take this time to embrace the tension, there's fear, there's all sorts of things. But I always go back to this one line. It's a one famous line from the good book, not the Bible, Mark Twain. He says, "Against the assault of laughter, nothing can stand." I had to put his accent on, even though it's a terrible American Southern accent. But, against the assault of laughter, nothing can stand. Well, that's so true. Nothing can stand. Fear, prejudice, all those things that happen that can weigh us down, we can actually be lifted. So that said, I think it's probably a good segue to, let's call this my testimony. Roll the film.
The year was 1973. It was summertime, and it was in the prairies. Lethbridge, Alberta, to be exact. That town just on the foot of the coulees. That's where I spent most of my time during the summer, except for when the Thomas shows came to town. The Thomas shows are like the Calgary Stampede, but a little less on crack. But I will say this, apart from the rodeo, they had the best freak show on the planet. And as a 13-year-old boy, that was heaven. So me and my best friend, Horhoser, I should explain. Horhoser, don't even ask what his first name is. I don't even know what his first name, and I don't even think his mother knew what his first name was. With a name like that, why would you need one? Anyways, Horhoser and I were there at the Thomas shows. We had spent the day on the zipper, playing this way and that, getting sick, eating hot dogs, stuffing in cotton candy. Every orifice that was available, we were stuffing with food. Oh, so much fun. But the best fun we had was to go from one tent to the next of all the different freak varieties that were on display. And I'm telling you, it was a curio shop of humankind. I won't go into the details. I'll just say that it was fun. It was totally a free-for-all, and we had a grand old time. But the one that captured our imagination, the one that captured my heart, was Zambora the Gorilla Girl. We heard the barker just at the end of the line of the canvas, all the different paintings along the way, from skinny men and people with things stuck in their faces to, well, like I say, I won't go into all the details because I don't think I'm allowed to anymore. But at the very end was the barker calling out, "Zambora! The Gorilla Girl! Come see Zambora! The Gorilla Girl! No rags or rubber. This young, beautiful woman turns into a man-eating mountain gorilla before your very eyes. Now, if you have a heart condition in the maternal way or suffer from seborrheic psoriasis, please do not see Zambora, the Gorilla Girl." Well, of course, everyone with heart conditions, maternal way, and seborrheic psoriasis were lining up. And of course, would we not? But the thing that particularly enticed us was not so much his call to come forward. It was the big paintings on either side of the tent. On the left-hand side, a 20-foot Zambora, garishly pink, feminine pink, in a leopard skin bikini, in the perfect shape of a woman. On the right-hand side, again, 20 feet tall, was a crazed, bloody-eyed, wild and woolly-haired, man-eating mountain gorilla. Well, you'd think those two pictures would entice me enough. But no. The thing that really captured my imagination wasn't so much the Zambora on the left and the gorilla on the right. It was what happened in the middle, because the Zambora on the left was in a leopard skin bikini. And the one on the right was just wild, hairy, crazy, and naked. What happened there? So, Horhoser and I, out came our 25 cents, and in we went. Through the long corridor, that canvas corridor, that smell, that thick, close smell of canvas. You know, like going into a tent, steamy and thick and canvassy. You know that smell. But add to that, at a carnival, the smell of old popcorn, candy floss, and cigarettes and urine. It's very romantic, I guess. And it stuck with me. In through that corridor and then into this huge cavernous space, this sanctuary, I'd call it, this sanctuary of canvas and sawdust and oily ropes and little bulb lights that could hardly keep their energy. They always crackled and hummed and hissed. When your eyes got accustomed to the light, you realized you were in a theatrical space, a rather large one. There was a stage. On the stage was a chair. On that chair was a bullwhip. Something's going to come of that. And behind that was a cage door. Not the cage, just the door. But it was securely fastened by very secure, and I'd say industry strength, canvas that kind of flapped in the wind. It created a corridor that down which was so black and so thick and dark, it felt like the abyss of our souls. And yet you could see a little bit of movement in there. Is that Zambora? Horhoser, what do you get? We were looking with, as strong as we could with our little eyes. We could just see a little bit of movement, but we knew it was Zambora. She'd soon reveal herself. So up we came, pressed as close as we could to the stage. Our biggest mistake. We'll get to that later. Pressed up against the stage, trying to get the best look we could of Zambora. That beautiful vision that we expect to see. While we were there, the place filled quickly, and we had all sorts of colorful human beings, which makes up any crowd out in the prairies. So behind us was Jake and Katie from the Hutterite Colony, and Jake, he had his steer horn belt, his dress belt, shall we say, his dress buckle, and I could not move with it poking in my back. That was a problem. And on top of that, we had every other type of person fill that space up. So there were the Blood, the Blackfoot, the Cree. There was, I should say, let's not forget the farmers and the alcoholics from town that we always loved and cherished on the streets. Everyone that we knew and loved and teachers that we didn't, all filled the space, waiting for that moment. When a man in a pith helmet came onto the stage, a pith helmet, surveyed the crowd, as you do with a pith helmet, and picked up the bullwhip, and then cracked it. Zambora! Reveal yourself! And at that moment, a light bulb went on at the very end of that dark, black corridor. And there she was, a vision of beauty. Zambora, the gorilla girl. She was a vision, a Venus of the carnival. She had her leopard skin, as promised and advertised, her leopard skin bikini. I couldn't quite tell if those were tattoos or bruises from the distance, but still, what a vision. And she was buxom. One was a little smaller than the other. I can't figure out how that worked, but still, as a child, I didn't mind. This was great. And she stood there, smoking her cigarette. The man with the pith helmet. Zambora! Change! With that, the light began to flicker. Not only in her cell, but overhead as well. As if she was drawing on the powers of the universe to change, to transform into a man-eating mountain. Well, anyways, you could see it. Something was happening. Behind, was it her or was there a dark shape behind her? Then it was in front or behind, and the light, and she heaved her lopsided bosoms, and I saw handshakes again. What is that? Is that a grease mark? And pitch black. The lights were out. And in that moment, which felt like eternity, we felt a change had occurred. You could feel it. Because when the lights came on, it was the gorilla at the end of the corridor. And instinctively, you want to back up. But unfortunately, I had steer horn buckles in my back. And I couldn't move. Neither could Horhoser. The entire crowd decided to press forward at the moment we wanted to go back. So we had a problem. Then the man with the pith helmet said, Zambora! Stay back! Never ask a gorilla to stay back. They do the opposite. They have oppositional disorder. Because the minute he said that, Zambora came lumbering forward. Lumbering is the word too. Not sachet, not traipse, lumbered forward. Right to the bars of the cage and grabbed the bars with the most flexible, rubbery fingers I'd ever seen. And began to shake. Again, I want to go back, but no, everybody wants to lean forward. And she was looking at me. I could feel it. And the man with the pith helmet could sense there was danger. And with his bullwhip, cracked and said, Stay back, Zambora. Stay back. Remember that oppositional disorder? Comes in handy now, because just then, at that order, she pushes the bars forward and they come down and crack, bang, and she comes jumping. The human body goes through all sorts of interesting functions when faced with genuine terror. We scream, as I just did. We make funny faces. If we have full bowels, we loosen them. But thank goodness I didn't. And we jump, we lurch, we fly. It's just kind of a thing we do as human beings. We're very good at it, actually, given the chance. And here was that moment. Because when she jumped out onto the stage, looking at me, we as one, the entire audience, leapt to our feet. And we lifted. It was very balletic. And we turned as one, in slow motion, as she with her rubbery fingers were grasping at us. Another thing that happens when faced with terror, human beings fart. It happens. I know you can lose your bowels, loosen them, but farting is the most common reaction, and that's exactly what the entire crowd did at that time. Well, Horhoser and I were at the very back of that crowd. I'll leave that to your imagination. We were then carried out in a wave of unmitigated terror. That hairy, rubbery creature behind us. You know that feeling when you're running upstairs and it's just almost at your heels? Well, that's that feeling, but only now on a crowd level. And it so happened they had the flaps open and waiting for us all to exit. That particular exit. Isn't that funny? They were so prepared. And out into the daylight we went. Every one of us, screaming and howling. And in front of friends, family, girls we had crushes on at school. They all watched this entire crowd race out, terror-stricken. I think that aided in the sale of the next few tickets. I think a number of people grabbed deep and ran straight to the Barker. But for me, it was an epiphanal moment. It so embedded itself in my soul that for the next 5 years, I went every year to the Thomas Show and straight to the Zambora tent. And every year it got less and less elaborate. It got sadder and cheaper. They were running out of money. The fairs were beginning to lose their shine. And Zambora no less. And Zambora in the 5th year, all they had left was a tape recorder on the chair. And a man with an oily cap came on with a broken nose, not even the guy with the pith helmet. An old guy, a carny, came up and he pressed the button. And then, as a crowd, we listened to Zambora, Zambora, stay back, stay back. And it all rolled the same again. Down came the cage, up went the audience, out came the farts, and out into the sunlight. And we did that for 5 years. The same punchline. The reason I bring this up and tell you this story is that I consider Zambora the Gorilla Girl to be my very first altar call. Because let's face it, good stories always bring us to the altar.
Well, sir.
Fun times, fun times. And the thing is that not a single word of that was exaggerated. And people find it hard to believe. And I think, what a great made-up story. Not a word was exaggerated. Yeah.
This is the thing, and what I really always appreciate. I mean, apart from your fantastic delivery in general of these things, I'm going to turn it so that you can actually see me again here. Here we go. We can have a conversation now. Yeah, hi. There's something about the truthfulness of story, and there is this thing that we can tend to. I mean, not that we have to try to pull a moral tale out of this, but there is something about, you think of the book of Judges, you think of different passages of scripture. They don't pull any punches. They actually tell the story, right? Mm-hmm. And I just appreciate that you told us the story in such riveting detail. Tom, is there
those details are burnt into my brain? Trust me.
Yeah. Just as I kind of prep to bring on our next presenter, do you have a minute or two, just something that you would like to maybe just share with us from your perspective, your journey in this time, whatever it looks like? Just a couple minutes, just speak your mind, son.
There you go. Well, we've gone through like I said, this huge epic change in our lives. And with that, I think we can all give room for grief. We're grieving the loss of just those normal everyday things that we used to do, right? Like just hang out with buddies, like have dinner with you guys, or Come and cuddle with our girls. They're in Toronto. Miss them. So all those little things, we have to give ourselves room to grieve. But in the middle of all of that, I really think it's important that we also give ourselves room to play. Play is an amazing healing tool. And children have figured that one out. They right from the sandbox upwards, they figured it out. Life is not easy for children. They suffer and they struggle. Yet the first thing they do is go out and they bat each other over the heads in the sandbox. And that's just makes them as happy as Larry. And really, we grow through play. So this storytelling or the arts, music, all those things we do that we endeavor to create with our hands, with our hearts, with our minds, it's all an effort towards play, even if it's lament. That was beautiful. Thank you, Krista Tilly, by the way. That lament was lovely. But that's play. And even she said that. Did you remember what she said? She said, I just love having fun doing this, playing. It was like for her, there was a sense of play. That's very true. So I just encourage us all, even in this phase of this, that will pass, this time will pass. In the midst of this, not to forget the sheer, I think, transformational power of play.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. And thanks for bringing us into an environment that smells like canvas and urine. It's a deep gift to us all tonight.
Wonderful. Actually, I was going to include the scratches to feature on the technology of this today, but I thought, now I'll do this.
Nicely said. All right, my friend.
Take care.
Yeah, see you
Love
later.
you guys.
Thanks so much for this. Hello. Hey, welcome here. Cory, I'm so glad that we weren't sure the name on the thing there was, but we're good. We're good. It's you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No,
I know
no.
yesterday you even said.
That's okay. It's okay.
Right.
We're all good. Hey, so welcome here. Grateful that you're able to come and to contribute and to share in this. This has been such an amazing kind of broad experience of creativity and storytelling and just kind of living in a moment that is complicated. Hey.
Yeah. No, I've been following along. It's just been so life-giving.
Awesome. Yeah.
For me, at least.
Well, for me too. Hey, so Cory, I'm just going to just kind of give you the stage, so to speak, just to kind of speak about your stuff, your work, and then we have a video that's queued up for you. So just let me know when you want me to play that, and it's all yours.
Okay, thanks. I'm Cory Harsh from Edmonton. I am sharing a song and responsive litany or liturgy today. The song I originally wrote in 2010, it was sort of a response to the very big earthquake that hit in Haiti. We had some deep connection with people there, and just the crying out to God on their behalf was heavy on our hearts. And the song actually became one that I returned to a lot in my life, just the ups and downs of living with job losses or postpartum depression or now a global pandemic. So it's just something that I returned to, this crying out for God, and it kind of gives voice to that space in my life where I don't feel heard. And then the song itself kind of refocuses or resolves on just remembering God's holiness in all these circumstances. And the litany that I've mixed into the song is a responsive litany, and so it has the lyrics on it because I'm a tech wizard. And so the responsive reading has all to indicate the parts that we would all say together. And before I'm a songwriter, and definitely before I'm a musician, I would say that I'm a poet, and words are very important to me. And so saying these words out loud and then in community with other people has been really healing. It gives voice to things that I'm feeling. It gives space for experiencing emotions. And this litany I wrote earlier this year, and it's just another way of allowing space for processing emotion and processing circumstance. And then for me, the litany is about the goodness of God existing even in suffering. And Adrian shared earlier today about Psalm 139, and sort of the phrase that sticks out to me about that verse is, the darkness is not dark to you. And we feel surrounded by darkness, but God is here. And sort of recognizing that even the feeling of the absence of God is indicative of God's presence. And that recognizing I don't feel it helps me remember I have felt it, and God is here. And so the song and the litany kind of, for me, have given space for those things. I don't know if anybody knows about Fran Pratt. She's the litanist, and she has described these responsive readings as kind of tossing a ball. And we say something, we toss the ball, and then you guys say it, and then we toss the ball back. And I like this because it feels like, again, shared space where we're both kind of connecting over this distance. And so my desire would be that using the words on the screen, everybody would be able to read the all part and join me in that. And the recording, I dabbled in GarageBand for the first time, so be prepared. But anyway, yeah, I think you could play it now if you'd like.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Cory. Yeah, it's a great introduction. Here we go.
We cry aloud to God.
I'm struggling to keep my mouth above the water's surface. Please consider me and take a moment of eternal time for me. Meet me where I am. Can you pull me up and out? Can you towel me off and heat up my frigid limbs? Will you recover all the me that is washed away and fallen down to the murky water's bottom? Can you make me dry and warm and whole again? God, you sustain me. Bring peace and meet me where I am. In the wash of these waters, only you can turn doubt into wonder. Only you can bring peace to my flailing body. Only you can restore empty, shriveled fingers and veins to pulse with hope again. The whispers all around are sentencing me to drift to the bottom. Currents weave wisps that tease and tug me downward, and I entertain their fingers' pull between gulping breaths. But you, O Lord, are gracious, and you meet me where I am. You are descending into these depths for me. You raise me. I am gasping, wounded, but risen. You hold me up, stand me tall in front of you. Yahweh, breath and life. You breathed into my waterlogged body, into my almost drowned soul. You fill me and my heart beats with hope. You meet me where I am. And with fresh hope, I see how you permeate all of these eternal moments. You are the breath that fills my lungs, even in gasps. You are the peace that touched me in suffering, even in flailing. You are the merciful water that held me buoyant in the middle and kept the bottom's draw at bay. While you descended and dove to meet me, you were already flowing through my body, in and out my lungs, the physical force to keep me from the depths. Blessed are you, the God who meets me here, is already here, always, and always, and always.
So, sorry about the strange effect here. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna fix this. That was. Can I just say that I think it would be a wonderful idea for you to keep messing around with GarageBand. That was really lovely.
Thanks.
Really, and just looking at the responses here on Facebook, I think you have the feed up there. Are you able to see some of the? Oh, okay. There's been a wonderful resonance that's taken place. In fact, some have actually we're doing the response in text on the Facebook feed, which I think is a really beautiful way to express that. And so, just want to say thanks to that's another act of creatively interpreting this time and a need for connection. And so, lovely, really love the work and just the way you framed it too, with the, I know Fran a little bit too, but this idea of the tossing back and forth. It's a lovely, what a wonderful expression of that. Thank you.
Thanks for giving us space, Chris.
Oh, it's such a gift. It's a gift all around. And just, I'm just looking through here, and the gift of this for people who are watching, I think, is significant. So thank you for creating the space again to be vulnerable, right? To step into all of the tensions and all of the other stuff too, right? It's beautiful. So it just, if you want, do you want to take a 30 seconds or a minute or something and just kind of send off your time with, do you have any thoughts that you'd like to leave us with?
I want to go back and read the comments that you're saying, because the idea that people are, I feel quite emotional about sharing it and then having that response is impactful for me. So
it's beautiful. Yeah. And the thing is, it's community, right? Mm-hmm. In the absence of community, as we want to know it, and as we're designed to experience it, this is meaningful. And so, I'm with you. I hear you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much for this space, and for everybody to participate in this way. It's made a big difference for me. So, and I know lots of other people. So thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. All right. Well, okay. Well, Cory, I will. With that, we'll send you back into the green room, and I'm going to pull Luke forward. So take care, and I look forward to being able to see you properly again sometime soon. I hope.
Bye.
Take care.
Hello,
Luke. Hey, man.
Hey.
How are you?
Great. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well. I feel like this is such a blast being able to. I know we're a little bit behind time on this, which people who are on the other side of this don't know the timeline, but I appreciate your patience. But it's like we've got these moments to unpack together, and they're all beautiful, and so we're gonna do it. I want to take a minute, and I did this earlier, but now that I have you on the call properly, I just want to say thanks, Luke. You've been super helpful for me in us and helping. Even just, we had a call a little while ago and kind of brainstorming about this idea, and then just kind of helping to knit together some of the moving parts initially. I just really am thankful. And Luke we had a call before, it was pre-COVID, I think, and it was like one of those amazing conversations where he said, hey, how can I help with stuff? And so thank you for that, man. I just really appreciate it. Very meaningful.
Chris, you're an amazing human being, and you've accomplished something incredible today. And I really hope you get a good rest after all this is done.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Monday off.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
You've earned it, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so hey, I am really looking forward to sharing. I really dig this song. Luke sent me his video a while ago, and so I've actually been using it as all my testing, figuring this stuff out. So I've listened to it a lot, and so I'm really grateful that it's a good song and a really nice, a really great video. And also, and we mentioned earlier, but you also did you did the music video for Brian, for your father-in-law, and
Yeah.
beautiful, man, beautiful work. So.
Oh, thanks.
Anyway, with that, I'm going to get out of the way and let you kind of introduce this and say what you want to say about your work and what you do, and you just tell me when you want me to roll your video there. So,
Well, why don't we roll it first?
Okay.
And then we can kind of talk about it after.
okay,
It's been a while since I've seen it, so
there you go. Sounds good. All right, I'll bring it up here.
perfect.
My eyes have seen your love. My heart beats with your blood. My soul yearns for your own. Jesus, I long for thee. You are the one who lifts me from the depths. Jesus, you are my help and my rest. You clothe your own in the joy of dancing. Won't you come and cover me with the same thing? My tongue sings of your love. My mind is drawn to your design, and I know, even when I don't, that I still long for thee, that I still long for thee. You are the one who lifts me from the depths. Jesus, you are my help and my rest. You clothe your own in the joy of dancing. Won't you come and cover me with the same thing? Jesus, you are my help and my rest. You clothe your own in the joy of dancing. Won't you come and cover me? Won't you come and cover me? Won't you come and cover me with the same thing?
I'm just gonna unmute you here, and I think we're all in black at the moment. So there's this funny, for those who are watching, there's this funny little game that people on Zoom play that admins anyways on Zoom play, and that's when you go to unmute somebody, but they go to unmute themselves at the same time, and then you keep muting it, you keep undoing one another's thing. Anyway,
it's like the social distancing version of like when you're trying to pass someone who's in front of you and you keep stepping the same direction. It's basically like that, and we definitely maybe had that interaction just now.
Hey man, that's beautiful work. I just really love there's such an air about the song, it's just it's such a peace inducing kind of in all of the best ways. Just space. Why don't you speak to the song? Oh yeah, right. Thank you for whoever commented on that. Here, let's bring us both up. There we go. You can see Luke now.
There we go.
Yeah, that's better. Luke, speak to the song, speak to the process. What's the story here?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting story with this song because it was originally, I'll give it more of some context. So I'm with the Table Vineyard out here in BC, and we do a liturgy throughout the entire service, and then usually will include Lectio Divinas, and that particular one was based on Psalm 30. And I was really wrestling when I was reading Psalm 30 because probably the most thing it's known for is "You clothe me with the joy of dancing," and there's a lot of worship songs that involve dancing, and at that particular moment in that time, I had a really difficult time singing I'm dancing with the joy of the Lord, because there's so many of those worship songs out there, and I just found it wasn't what I was feeling, and I feel like if I was leading worship to the song, it wouldn't be authentic. And out of that, I started processing my thoughts and realized, well, I actually want to be there, but I'm not there right now. And it's like, maybe there's something to be said about using it as a prayer. I want to be covered with that. And so as that process started going through, it's like, I want to be clothed in the joy of dancing. What is that? What is that thing? And then that spawned the idea. I want to be covered with the same thing. But what's really interesting was that after that song was written, it was recorded and everything was done with the song, it was actually set to be released in late January. And the beginning of January, I started getting these crazy anxiety attacks, something I've never experienced before.
Wow.
And, out of that experience, realizing that I needed to find the rest of God. And I needed to cling to that so hard, because it felt like I was going to be dying any second. Not exaggerating, it felt like death was on the corner.
Anxiety sucks, man. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I've never wrestled with it before, but seeing what people deal with on the daily, it's crazy. And it's like, anyone that wrestles with it, my heart goes out to you, and I pray God will shower you in his peace, because it is unbearable. That whole experience was unbearable. And so I found it very interesting through that, and thinking about, I got to release this song, and no, we're not going to do it. I just got to push everything back. That song became much more real to me than when I initially wrote it. And it's interesting that even when you often, as people are creative and create something, the meaning will change over time, or something that was just how you felt at the moment will actually have a different, almost like an artistic equation as life continues on. So I thought that was very interesting for me. And it was a really neat situation later on. The girl Erin Martins, who designed the artwork for it, we had a Zoom call. I was just interviewing about the artwork, and it turns out she started having anxiety attacks around the same time I was, and how that fueled her art into what she created, and kind of this idea of being comforted. And it was just a lot of really neat stories all packed into kind of a situation. So
Yeah, that's very cool to hear that story. It's there's sometimes it feels like there's a moment where so creativity is a gift, right? It's a gift that you work for. It's kind of a weird relationship with it. I mean, it's something that you make. It's a gift, the Lord. There's a secret sauce that I don't think anyone's probably quite cracked in terms of how this whole thing works. But I don't know if you've experienced this. It kind of sounds like it a little bit. But sometimes the Lord, there'll be something that will come out of you, or you'll create, and it becomes a gift to your future self. And I've experienced that on a couple of occasions. And again, sometimes it's like the Lord will bring a certain vision to grow into or towards. And so kind of this formational thing. And I hear a little bit of that in your story. That it seems like it's the kindness of God to us sometimes. You do this thing, and then, but yeah, it's like, and sometimes it's a process of like years where it's like, wow, the whole time, I don't know how this works, but it seems like it's pointing to this, right? Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you sharing that, and it's. Just looking to just so that I don't know if you have the Facebook feed up, but there's a lot of resonance out here. There's just
that's good to hear.
It means it's leading people into a really great place. Larry Levy says, "Wonderful, love the symmetry of the theme, vibe, font, and color." And I agree. I think as an overall, it's just such a great. It's very, very cohesive. And it all kind of leads in the direction that my soul wants to go when the music starts. And so, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's so many. That location was actually in Powell River, where I'm from, and I used to have a thinking spot, and that's where I got that footage from. Was just spending a day down there, and then found some neat little filters that were very Vincent inspired.
There you go. Yeah.
It was just neat, kind of it was a neat thing, and just this song means a lot to me. It's very special. So I'm thank you for letting me share it with you. And thank you for your feedback and encouragement.
Thank you for this. It's been wonderful. It's interesting. Sorry, I just had a moment. See, this is what happens, right? Chris is in front of whoever's watching, and it's like managing different pieces, and there's a certain level of fatigue. I looked at our schedule and realized that there's a 35-minute gap in the schedule that I printed off for myself, and so because I looked down, it's like suddenly we're right on time. I was like, how did that happen? We were way. So anyway. That's fascinating. Anyway,
now you can work on sharing that slam poetry you've been working on, right?
That's right. Hey, Luke, thank you again for being a part of the behind the scenes, as well as being a participant in this. It's a real gift to all of us. I'm just going to take a look here and see if that's great. All right. Well, I'm just going to so in the spirit of what I have been doing, if you just want to take I'm going to let Emily know that she's going to come on in a moment. Sure. So if you want to just take a minute and just kind of, if there's anything that you want to, like a parting word to this community that's watching right now, that would be awesome.
Well, I can imagine we all probably sense an area of anxiety right now. Whether that's work-related, health-related, and I really pray God's peace over you. I know for me, He was very faithful in that area, and I believe He still is. So I pray peace over all of you. His peace. And I pray that Chris will continue to make this thing a magical experience, just the way it's always been. And his lovely choice of shirts will just continue to shine.
I have such, you have no idea. I love this shirt. I've worn this shirt too much, but it's.
Oh, it's so good. I kind of want to get some more choices of shirts and ship them to you as a gift.
That's great. I would welcome that. Size large. Anyway,
Perfect.
Oh, thanks, man. I look forward to next time we get to connect, but I really appreciate you being part of this. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, and so I'm going to just invite Emily Davison's going to come and join us here for a bit and share. So I'm just going to... Hello, Emily.
Hello, Chris.
How are you?
Well, how are you doing? Hanging in there?
You know what? I'm having a fantastic time. I'm a little bit tired. It's been a long day, but you know what? It has been really, really worth it. It's been really beautiful. So and I'm grateful that now you get to be part of this and share. So you're going to share some poetry, I think. Yes. My notes have kind of gone fuzzy in my brain, but anyway, yeah, we don't have history. I don't know you very well, so I would love to just kind of give you the floor and have you introduce yourself and talk about what you do, and share some of your words with us.
Fantastic, thanks.
Great.
Well, thanks for having me. As Chris probably mentioned, my name's Emily, and I'm coming to you live from Vancouver, BC. I'm in the Mount Pleasant area, and it's still evening for us here, just early, so apologies for the backlighting there. And I moved out to Vancouver about 10 years ago to go to writer school at UBC. So, and then I stayed because it does not snow here, and I'm a New Brunswicker, and I'd had enough of that. So I've been here since then, and I'm a writer, and I am going to share poetry tonight. And I've got about 5. They're quite short, so I've selected a few, but Chris, you can just give me the maybe one more sign if you find we're going too long a time myself, but it's always good to double check. And my work is a bit of a mix of asking questions of my own experiences, trying to pull out from everyday life the things that might have a little bit of magic or I guess we'd say spirit on them or things like that. Just where does some of the brightness come from, especially in seasons like this one where it can be hard to see or you can wonder if even you should go looking at all. So I'm going to read a selection. The first 2 I'm going to read are actually exist in the world already. My first book of poetry came out last year. It's called Lift. And it was really exciting to have something actually out in the world of mine. So I'm going to read 2 pieces from there. And the first piece is just about growing up in a small town. I'm from St. John, New Brunswick, so shout out to any of the East Coasters who are still awake. And so this is just about that small townness. It's called Shimmer. I grew up in a thin place, a line of fog closing in to make low of us. Winter, a long illness. And we the bright spots, I suppose, full of promise and color. I've been hammered thin since then, and tested too, and crushed a little. So where does mystery come from? Where comes the shimmer just past sight, once you've inspected adulthood finally and forgotten how to squint and trust your chances? So I like to have a look at things kind of as I'm experiencing them and then after they've happened and sort of write down and see what I missed the first time. So this next piece is about a trip I took with my mom. She and I went to Paris a few years back while we were still allowed to travel, RIP international travel. And so we went to the Basilica of the Sacred Heart, which is that beautiful white cathedral on the top of a hill in Paris. And while we were there, we happened to catch a nun giving communion, which I'd never seen before in the Catholic tradition. So we were not participants, but just viewers of that. And I had a real moment sitting there in that space that had been designed for sacred worship and had stood for so long, and so many tourists were passing through. So in one way it felt very secular with us and all of our cameras, and at the same time this group of children was being given communion. So this is a poem about that. Basilique de Sacré-Cœur de Montmartre. The voice between the columns is female and lush and pure, not perfect, but a version of sweet that involves the deep black of ancient lakes. The words are French, and my mind hears them through the fog of second language twice removed. A group of school children receives the Eucharist, and the nun sings a song I do not know, unaccompanied. The chant goes up to the stonework, up to the stained glass, the painted saints, and the whole of Sacré-Cœur rings with it. The dome fills and light bathes the floor. I sit with my mother in the space reserved for reflection. I am not Catholic, but there is something about spaces made tall enough for God to fit. And there is something in this other language that is mine as well, if only brought to me from a distance. And there is something in this spare and clear vibration that makes me all at once back at my beginnings and found. And we are simply tourists, and we are not so far from home, I think. I wanted to also share a couple things that I've written during the season of the COVID. These are also the only things I've written during the season of the COVID. I don't know how other creatives are finding this time, but for me, it has not been very generative. The experience of stress and concern sort of shuts down some of the parts of me that want to respond with art. But I thought for kind of honesty and work in progress, I would share two pieces from this season. And they both are about the cherry tree outside my window, which is my only friend at the moment. I live alone, and I've been alone for 2 months. So wow. The cherry tree and I are now in a long-term interspecies relationship. So the first of these is a little heavier, but I'm going to bring us out of that into, we'll close with some optimism. So just be aware, as if this one feels a little heavy, we'll move away from that. But I'll read these two pieces back to back, and you can hear sort of what a new poem is sounding like for me at this moment. Post-meridian. I am approaching the 3 o'clock of my life, still waiting for the light to hit me, the crest of the afternoon. I have no choice but to let it pass me. The hours are inevitable. There's a moment where the day's potential turns, and the value in an hour shifts. What a person can accomplish ebbs. I will begin to fade. But here I am for a moment, like the cherry tree outside my window in full bloom, fat clusters of pink flowers frothy on every branch. And here for a moment, the light breaks through and it is made glorious in the exposure. Look what I have laid out. Look what I am capable of. Maybe that's enough. I don't know. The evening comes regardless. The tree outside my window has no name. Its buds an earthy burgundy on the verge of blossoming electric pink. 3 stories tall, a thin hand caught in a wave, slender and tremulous. In the late afternoon light, it is an indescribable color against the mustard tree behind it, glowing as though made of time, burnished for an instant. No one thought of me when they planted it, and I'm no less alone when a beam of western sunlight glances off a window to warm my foot before descending. But aren't I lucky to have seen it? Aren't I looking for the message nonetheless? And I will close with this piece, and this was written as part of a Sunday service, often during worship or after a sermon. I will write what feels like a response or a contribution, or mostly just for myself, participating creatively in what's happening. And I'm a part of a Life Church in Vancouver, meeting in Olympic Village. And so this is maybe a piece that was written in that particular context. And I also want to say it's a bit of an exhortation. And if at the moment you don't need an exhortation, but you need a nap, just let that wash over you. I know for some of us in this season, we just need rest. And I hope that you feel that extended towards you in this piece. But this was written before the pandemic sort of approached us. And so it's sort of a different vibe in terms of exhortation and encouragement. So just wanted to set the stage for that. So this will be the last piece that I read, and written in the context of a Sunday morning gathering. Where are your instruments of worship? What have you hidden, relinquished? What has long-suffering stolen from your hand? Let the cool rivulet of the Spirit run a thread through your soul. Hope comes softly. Hope comes tenderly. Hope will not sink your tenuous vessel. Hope will not pull you under. What have you set down? What have you determined is no longer your calling, your gifting in your DNA? Feel the Spirit gently at your door, at the doors you closed against the cold. What are you afraid has rotted? Where has God forgotten you? Where have you made contingencies? Where have you shored up against the storm? The Spirit is standing at your elbow. The Spirit whispers at your side. Throw open the windows one more time. Let air in. Let light. Pick up the instruments you've left silent. There is hope. There is more. There is hope.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Emily, in the spirit of,
Love a good poetry snap.
That's right. Just looking at the comments, and I would echo. There's just a couple of things that people have said here. Just they said this is just stunning. Well, I feel like the Spirit is talking directly to me. I think that as I'm listening, poetry is such an interesting thing. It sometimes it has a narrative piece, but it feels a little bit timeless. It's like you kind of existing in a moment and almost building something rather than maybe stringing it out. And I just feel like you've done that in a really lovely way for us in a variety of spaces. And having been, and Livia has commented too, Sacré-Cœur, it's thank you for inviting us back into that lovely space with your poetry.
Yes, you can travel without going anywhere.
Yeah. No, this was a very nice, long, refreshing drink of water, I think, to our souls. And yeah, somebody says here, and I would echo it as well. I wish all exhortations were so gracious. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I did it wrong.
No, it's there's and again echoing just depth in your words. So keep doing. I mean, what we're gonna say? Keep doing what you're doing, and I just really appreciate again. And there have been a number of us who have commented. Just trying to figure out what it looks like to exist in a healthy way in this space, and to allow creativity to be something that is not a pharaoh, not a taskmaster that says, no, you don't have capacity right now. Well, you have time, so work. And so just kind of bless you into the rhythms of that, and thank you for sharing this with us. It was a real gift.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Yeah, really, really lovely. As we've been doing, just as I kind of queue up the next person, if you want to take 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, just anything that you want to just sort of speak out to the community here as parting words from this time for you. Go for it.
been thinking about this because I've been watching on and off all day and thinking, oh no, I need a final deep thought. But the piece that I've really been sitting with in this season has been "The Pastors Can Fix This For Me." I think it's, is it Psalm 91? Being held under the feathers of his wings is where I've been finding I want to be right now. And I need to think about that image of God as soft creature. For me, I have a hard time remembering kindness and gentleness, especially towards myself. Just about your word of giving yourself some grace during the season resonates for me. So I love the idea of a God who would position himself as something with feathers. I think that's so lovely, and let me shelter you with my body, which is, I mean, the central tenet of everything we hold to be true. And so I guess my encouragement to anyone listening is that you are being sheltered by God's body in this season, and his feathers and kindness and softness are towards you. And so I say that from myself as much as anyone here. I need to hear those words. But that's what I've been trying to walk under during this time, is what does it mean to be afraid but also fully sheltered? And how can that shelter speak to my fear and help me lay it down and walk into a different feeling of, this isn't great, but I'm not alone, and I'm safe.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, and bless you as well in this strange COVID existence that you were describing too. All right. Well, thank you, Emily. Really appreciate you taking time with us and sharing. And be well.
Thanks, you too.
Take care. And so coming up here, we have Lance is joining us, Lance Barkman, and I'm looking forward to everybody. Who am I kidding? Mr. Lance, hey man.
Chris, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Are you hanging in there? Are you okay?
I am. I feel. I mean, I got it. So I've been sitting on this IKEA chair. So this is my one pity moment. This is it. This is all. So it's a hard plastic chair. It's actually extremely comfortable for the first 4 hours. But anyway, no, I'm doing well. This has been really, really encouraging for me. This is a labor of love. So no, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
You are an Iron Man. I have full respect. So
thanks, mate. So Lance, we met along with a number of people last year. We connected in the Abbotsford area and had a gathering of creatives and worship leaders, and it was a fabulous time. And we shared a meal and had some great conversations. And I think I really like who I met, and I'm super eager to share. Have you share with us the work that you've been doing, because it's just exciting. It's great. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the floor, and then you can tell me when you want the video to run and all that, and I'll just make it happen. So you just let me know what you need.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. I like you a lot too. Actually, I like you a lot. Anyways, I'll stop being goofy. I'd like to just share with you all my painting. This is the painting I crafted just a year or two ago, and we were kind of in a bit of a transitional place. And so maybe first I'd like to just kind of describe how I paint, and that might give you a bit of insight to maybe the meaning of this painting. But often as a visual artist, I will, get shapes and textures and colors and just kind of an overall vision. And I trust in that vision. I don't try to put too much meaning into a painting at first, just because I almost like it if a painting or piece of art would allow for prophetic space. Just space to breathe and space to actually mirror kind of a deeper beauty that might actually come out in an individual. And so so yeah, I think I just love creating the space. And so this painting I have to show today is called Escape. And I think a big part of this painting's inspiration came from, actually, I think when David spoke in Montreal for the national gathering. And he just mentioned, Chris, just that kind of, someone had come into a church somewheres, and he said, I saw the lights, I saw the fog, I saw, everything was just perfect, and it was amazing. And the program got handed to me, but I just came to meet with God. And so part of this, the theme of this painting is the escape, and where do you escape to meet with God? And so that was just a good question of finding that space and creating that space. And so this painting describes the escape, and so what this is a bird cage that kind of morphs into some stained glass, and at the bottom here it's a disco ball. And so I had a friend kind of interpretate this painting to me on Facebook today, and they just said, I feel this tension between the structure and the freedom, or that space of mystery and just that vulnerable space, that depth. And so yeah, I have some stained glass pieces that kind of simulate the church to other structures we create. And I think often our art itself creates structure and a safety within it. And I think sometimes we have to actually just let that go and then come out and dive back into the mystery and dive back into this place of imagination. And so a big part of the depth of the colors here and the canvas and the blue was just kind of the imagination, and the different colors of birds represent diversity in amongst that, the races, the gender, all the different diverse groups that would come together. And so this red bird really finds safety in the cage, and that's great. And then these other three birds find really safety being close to the cage, but maybe flying around more in that kind of liminal imagination space that maybe feels vulnerable. This is my piece. I know we want to do a song. We're running a little behind, and I don't want to take up too much time. But yeah, it was a year of painting last year and the year before, and a piece like this came out of it. And I just want to leave it open for your own interpretation. I don't want to necessarily put all the answers to it. I want this painting to also spark the questions. And so that's about that for this painting. Yeah. And maybe, Chris, I'll go into this the song that you're going to play as well. And what's funny is the song is called "The Stillness," and a lot of the inspiration of that song also came from that same word. Is I just want a space to meet with God. Amongst the busyness, the clutter, we find little nuggets of gold that we hold on to. And we create structure around those nuggets of gold, but sometimes we lose that kind of the essence, of what we're really after. And that is, as someone who's involved in church, is just how do we create this space? How do we create that space where people can come and not get the answers from me, but actually find the answers from God? And so that's the question that I really wrestle with, and creating a space. A big part of my my role at Kelowna Vineyard is helping create the space and shape the space. And so I put a lot of art and work every early Sunday mornings there, and we set up. And but yeah, so this song, The Stillness, kind of just came out of that place, and a song that's just not too worried about awkward spaces and musical spaces and silent tensions. And just, it's a song that's not your typical song. It's not your verse, pre-chorus, chorus. It's just finding that creative space to just breathe. And so anyways, I'd like to kind of introduce the song. Actually, my wife, Natalie, helped craft this song with me. It was a very hard song to craft. Like as trying to be an engineer, I was working on recording it, engineer, producer, writer. It's just a lot to juggle sometimes, but Natalie really kind of helped in with this piano piece. And then it started to make sense. So anyways, I hope you enjoy this song, and thanks for sharing this space with me. And I just love this community and seeing the other creations out there. It makes me feel not alone to actually see others being vulnerable and being brave. And so thank you, Chris. I love that you invited me into this. I like your shirt. Your shirt looks like $1 million, and I would do a painting that looks just like your shirt. But anyways, I can't wait till you're back in K-Town here. So
yeah, me too.
Come on down.
Awesome. Yeah.
All
right. Well, I'm gonna roll the song. Thank you so much, Lance, and lots of feedback, comments, and just real resonance again. And just quickly to say, the song will speak for itself. Just that image is very striking. I think it moves on a lot of different levels. Thank you for the subtlety of it. That's a beautiful restraint that I see in that as well. And so just really appreciate that in your work. Yeah, awesome. And without further ado, I'm gonna roll the tape, as they say in the old days.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Should I stick around or should I pop off here?
Sure, you can.
And you are here in the stillness, and you are here in the stillness, and my heart waits for you, and my heart shaped by you. And you are here in the stillness, and you are here in the stillness. My heart waits for you, my heart shaped by you. Shine. is my strength, is my strength, and my joy lies here with you. You are my strength, you are my strength, and the joy of being with you. You are my strength, you are my strength, and the joy lies here with you. You are my strength, you are my strength. You are my strength, you are my strength.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like there's a commonality in the imagery and in the music. I feel it takes us. There is a spaciousness in it and a subtlety that I just really appreciate. And just seeing some of that in the comments as well, just the resonant vibe. And yeah, thanks for sharing, man. It's been beautiful.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
It's a delight. All right, so I am going to I'm going to bring Sheza Anslus onto the call here. So Lance, hey man, the next time we get to share, it's going to be fun. So yes, we'll talk soon, brother. Okay.
Awesome. And this Sheza, she's and her husband, so fun in the green room. I mean, that green room, that's where it's at.
That's a party, yeah.
It's a party back there, totally. Yeah.
They're very good friends and they're a lot of fun. So I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I get that.
Wonderful.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, man. See you around.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, Chris. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Hey.
Hey, Chris McQueen, how are you?
Doing very, very well. This has been quite a day of beauty and sharing and vulnerability and seeing really faces of people that I have great affection for. And so it's great to have you guys join us here.
You're going to be so wound up and so tired at the same time that you won't know whether you can sleep or be up all night.
Well, I got a sermon to preach in the morning, so
we'll pray you get some sleep then.
Yeah. So hey, for those who don't, these are very, very good friends of ours, and so my pleasure to introduce these guys to the community that's watching here. Paul and Sherry, Sheza, and very, very. What did it say about you guys? I mean, Sheza is an artist in so many different ways. There's visual. You are a published you've written children's novels, you have released albums, and you just do the creative things and rock that out. And Paul is he has a part-time job looking famous. But but he's creative in the business world, and has a business that he's developed, and but also just I think I just really appreciate the way that you guys approach life, and in the space of creatively engaging with the stuff that God has before you. So what I'm going to do is get out of the way and let you guys introduce yourselves. Now, are you going to play live? Okay, fabulous. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get out of the way, let you guys introduce yourselves, talk about what you're going to do, and wonderful to have you here. Really grateful.
All right, so
You're on.
we're on. Okay. So we're gonna sing a song that I actually wrote this last week. Paul and I taking in the Vineyard here. We're in the middle of Canada.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you guys. There is a really loud noise in the background that's kind of obscuring what I'm hearing significantly. It kind of sounds like a jet engine. Oh, yes. What was that?
I just did something.
Perfect. Whatever you did is perfect. Do that.
Okay, and now it's good again?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, I don't know what I did. So I'm going to sing a song. It's called My Dwelling Place, and I wrote it this last week. And maybe, we'll talk about it maybe after we sing the song.
Sure.
Sound okay?
Yeah.
I will tell the world your story. It's the stuff of myth and fairy tales untold. A God came down from glory just to make himself a home. My Jesus, my Savior, my dwelling place. Oh, my Jesus, my Savior, my dwelling place. Not a palace or a mansion to be held in awe or high esteem, a humble heart of sorrow is the place you long to be. My Jesus, my Savior, my dwelling place. Oh, my Jesus, my Savior, my dwelling place. Jesus, come into your kingdom. Rule and reign in my heart. Kingdom now, not yet, and coming. Dwell in me, I and you. My Jesus, my Savior, my dwelling place. Oh, my Jesus, my Savior, my dwelling place. Sing it with me. My Jesus, my Jesus, my Savior, my dwelling place. Oh, my Jesus, my Savior,
that, you guys. Thank you. And so that's brand new. You just wrote that, you said, in the past week or so?
Yeah, I have a little story behind that song.
I hoped that you might.
So, we have been in lockdown for the last number of weeks, as everyone else has for the last month. And just last week, and that was going okay. Paul and I are here on our own. And so, we've been working and doing some creative stuff as well. Kind of like David, I've been just like really totally enjoying actually some of the solitude, and really have felt filled up by that time. But by strange circumstances, I had to go, and it's a long story, so I won't go into the details, but the Coles notes is that I had to go house sit in an empty house for a week. And all I had was a little camp bed and a lawn chair. I brought a ukulele, some books, and I had a computer. And so I spent a lot of time in this house by myself, which seemed even like more intense confinement, I guess, and containment. And to everyone else was thinking I was like super suffering, but I was just enjoying myself so much to have the solitude. And I just went for long walks and just studied and read the scripture and played the ukulele. And then one afternoon, I just sat down and took the instrument, and I just sang the song and did a little bit of work on it, but really it was a gift. And as I listened to sang it and listened to the lyrics, just the message of God coming to dwell with us, right? Like anywhere we are, whether we're stuck in our houses or whether we are even in other circumstances that feel even more surreal or alone, we're never alone because we have God's presence that dwells in us, and He longs to make His home in us. And there's this beautiful reciprocity of Him dwelling in us and us dwelling in His presence. And the song kind of, I think, came from that experience. And,
Yeah, I love that, and one of the things that I find super interesting, and I think it's been part of the gift of this sort of time together today, has been, there's all of these different. This season, it presents itself so differently to so many of us, right? And so there's such a variety of experience in this. But one of the things that is remarkable to me is, and although not surprising, I guess, after these years of being kind of walking with the Lord, but just how present He is in the middle of where we're at. And so there are these unlooked for gifts, and I so resonate with that story. Those moments where you go for a walk and something just drops out onto your hand, and you go, "Oh wow, this is," it's like somebody commented on here and said, "It's like I've known this song forever," right? And I was singing. I muted myself so I didn't throw you, but I was singing along. Yeah, really, really wonderful, you guys. Thank you.
Was about the experience of silence and the experience of just like withdrawing and solitude.
Yeah.
What I felt happened is that all of the busyness kind of dies down, right? And you can really just listen to hear it within you. You can listen to what the scriptures say as you read them. You can listen and notice the things around you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was one of the things that was is just sit down back of all that outside noise. Really, I know for lots of people who have them.
Right. Yeah. So the irony is that there's a lot of background noise again right now. That was, but there was some poetry in it. That sounds perfect again. Actually, no, it doesn't sound perfect. We can't hear you at all. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. So just looking over this, there was somebody's just commented, yeah, thanks for reminding us we dwell in him and he dwells in us. Yeah, just some real resonance with the story behind that. And yeah, I love that something new came out of that experience for you. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, you guys, I'm just going to queue up. Dean is going to come on next. By the way, the rumor is out that the Anzaluses make the green room a party. This is what we've been told. So
You know what? It's a really fun place back there. You guys, you set that up with loads of snacks and
Great.
like the comfort, the flowers. It's
Grapes.
just
the grapes, yes.
Yeah.
We love it back there.
that's great. Well, that's cool because I'm sending you back.
Did we go back there?
You can, yeah. That's where I'm going to send you in a moment. But I do just want to invite you to just maybe, as we've been doing, take 30 seconds or something. If there's just something that you can, that you want to kind of leave us with, feels like there's been some really nice, sweet nuggets as we've done that throughout the day. So just want to invite you to, if you got something.
When she said that she was having time away, it's actually time away from me. I just wanted to say that up front, Chris. But I just love that when God shows up in the most uncertain times, and He just pours out His creative things on His people, and I'm just so amazed that creatives come out in this time, and the things that we've seen in our tribe in the Vineyard. Some of the stuff that we've been seeing from the world. It's just been so amazing. And so we love that God continues to deposit His love and His mercy and His grace and His creative elements on all of us to remind the world that He is still pouring out every day, every moment, every second.
I just want to echo that, just saying that I've been really blessed by seeing just the range of creativity, The Spirit pours out His Spirit. He kind of expresses Himself through those individual people. And it's beautiful. Expression, right? From the humorous to the somber, to the reflective, the non-creative stuff. It's just beautiful to see that reflection of His Spirit in all of His Spirit. All the talent, the good, that's none of it.
Awesome. Thank you, friends. And again, as I've been saying to a lot of this has been a celebration of friendship for me as much, and look forward to sharing air and space with you guys again soon. Thank you for being part of this, and really good to see your faces.
Bless you every day.
All right. We'll see you later. We're set back to the green room for you two. Hello, Dean.
How you doing, Chris?
Doing well. So we meet. We haven't met before. We've had a couple of emails over the last 6 months or a year or something like that. But real pleasure to have you joining us on this. It's been a big adventure all along today, and just really grateful to have you contribute and share. And so I'm just gonna obviously we don't know each other that well, so I'm not super well equipped to give you a great introduction. So I'm just going to give you the floor, and you have a lyric video that we're gonna roll. I've got queued up, and so if you just want to maybe speak to who you are, what you do, and just tell me when you want me to roll the video, and that'll be great.
My introduction to the Vineyard, kind of in person, was a long time ago with Mark and Brenda Wallenberg in Edmonton. Cousin of mine took me. Prior to that, my folks had attended some conferences in the 80s and brought back these worship tapes, cassettes that at the time I felt made my ears bleed. and so I guess the Lord has a fantastic sense of humor, because fast forward to the late 90s, and my wife Gina and I found ourselves at Winnipeg Center Vineyard in the very early years of that church plant, when David and Anita Ruse and their a band of merry men and women had moved to the frozen plain to do that. And so thus began our journey in the vineyard. And although we had been on a kind of a musical odyssey ourselves prior to that, as an aspiring songwriter, I had spent time in Nashville. She and I, my wife and I, had spent time in the mid-90s. And our kind of coming into the vineyard swirl coincided with, or maybe even sparked, a complete reorientation in my passion and heart for songwriting. And it's never really changed in terms of the kinds of songs that when I write, it's always on that, in that vein. So this song, oddly enough, as many songwriters understand, some pieces are really slow burns. And in this case, this song had its birth at an intercessory prayer night in Winnipeg all those years ago. And, there have been years, in the interim where I've wanted to record it, just didn't work. And I kept, working and retooling the lyric, and finally it got to a point where I knew it was time to record. So did that in recent months, and I don't know. That's a really long-winded answer to your question, Chris.
No, it's great.
Sorry.
No, it's don't apologize. It's awesome. And resonate with those songs that sometimes take years to actually come fully formed, so fantastic. Well, that's great, man. We'll roll it.
Yeah, sounds good.
You've held me all along.
I see your nail-scarred hands and feet. Your nail-scarred hands and feet.
The power of your word is stronger than the hurt. You're healing me. My soul cries out to you. The light is breaking through. Makes me whole again. Renew me from within. Blow through me with the wind of your spirit, Lord. I will not let you go. I will follow you alone, right to the end. You are the Holy One, the King of Kings and Prince of Peace. You are the Holy One. I see your nail-scarred hands and feet. Your nail-scarred hands and feet.
wow is right. I actually did not get a chance to preview that, and so that was my first time seeing that as well. And let me just say that is some very fine work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate in this moment where it feels like there's like we're kind of all walking around with magnifying glasses with life right now. Everything is suspect. Everything is small, micro. Which is, I mean, you know, and there are some gifts that we've discovered, and some of us have unpacked the gift of being more local in our spaces. But thank you for leading us into the big story with this song. I mean, this is really, there's something here that is, first of all, I'm really looking forward to singing this. But yeah, I feel like there's something that pulls us, you know, into the big story of God and reminds us in a powerful way. And you've captured that on a lot of different levels, not just the lyric. But thank you. This is beautiful.
Well, that's very, very kind, very generous of you, Chris. I appreciate it. I mean, I was able to take in the first, most of the first couple of sessions today. I had to cut out partway through the third, but there's a lot of that recurring theme, you know, concerning, you know, resonance and inspiration, and you know, yeah, you know, everybody's approach to their craft obviously is going to be different. But in this case, as I mentioned earlier, it was a long time that this, you know, ripened, I guess. And I had the opportunity, after long having believed that the dream had died, you know, of getting back to Nashville to do some studio recording. I'd always had a real desire to do, you know, to commit some of the songs that I've been writing, worship songs over the years, but to commit them to posterity, you know, in a studio setting. And it's not about rank and order. It's not about trying to outdo or anyone else. It was just always something that burned in me to do that. So I was able to release The Way Volume 1 a few years, just you know, 2015, The Way Volume 2, another EP the year after. And I wanted to do this song on Volume 2. And at the time, we just didn't have the time. And my good friend and producer, Mark Baldwin, later admitted to me when we finally recorded this one for real, he said, dude, like, I heard you talking about arrangement ideas. And I didn't know what to do with it. You know, you know, and then finally something clicked, and yeah, could not have been happier with the outcome. Yeah. So thank you, and bless all of you. And yeah,
it's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I just really appreciate, and also I will just say that you're wasn't entirely honest in the opening, in that your music, in particular, Yahweh, is a song that I have sung for years and years, and will continue to sing for years and years. So thank you for giving us an evergreen in that, and you may have an evergreen in this too. This is a beautiful piece. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks again. Thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate being involved.
Well, that's wonderful. All right, we're just gonna queue up the punters here. Colleen and Graham are gonna come. I'm gonna send Dean back into the green room, and then you can exit the call from there if you want. But thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks again.
Now, just a quick note. I got a notice partway through that from Facebook. I guess because some of our artists have copywritten and even though they're the ones who are presenting, Facebook doesn't know that, and so gave us a bit of a copyright concern. I want to make sure that people are still able to listen. Are people tuned in still right now? It said that it wasn't discoverable on Facebook, and so if somebody can just comment and say yes, you're still here. that would be really swell. So I'm going to assume that we are. It looks like there's still people who are viewing this, but sometimes these algorithms, they're, the AI isn't so intelligent. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to look for that comment. In the meantime, I'm going to pull Colleen and Graham over and say hi to these guys. Hello, friends. How are you doing? Oh, we got you muted here. We're just going to unmute you. There we
Hi.
go. Hello, welcome here.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. You guys are full of color and sunshine, is what I see right now.
Why, thank you.
That's lovely.
Like a little bit of paint, so lots of lights.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well done. Well, so it's good to see you guys. It's been a while again, hey?
Yeah. We missed you at the summit.
I know. Yeah, it didn't work out for the last couple of years, unfortunately. So hopefully next year we'll be able to make it out to Edmonton again. And Graham and Colleen have been out to Ontario for some creative gatherings here, and then as well out west last year. So we've grateful for your support and your creativity. I'm actually really looking forward to you guys talking about what you do. So I'm gonna get out of the way and let you do that. You just let me know when you want me to play your videos, so you can introduce yourselves, and then I have them queued up, and we sort of a different setup. So I'm hopeful that it's gonna work. This is
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who do you have first? Like
you just tell. It doesn't matter. You tell me who.
Okay.
I can go either way. Yeah.
Okay. So you just want us to start sharing right now, then?
Yeah. Just talk about what do you do, and then when you're ready to air the videos, or if you want to show the videos first, that's fine. We can do that too.
I just wanted to kind of show this crazy hair. I'm going against the trend. I'm not doing the COVID buzz cut.
There you go.
Yeah. So I thought I'm going to go crazy.
Well, Graham, that does not surprise me. You do tend to swim upstream, so.
Yeah. Colleen took one look at me in horror and said, "You're gonna actually go on like that?"
That's funny.
So just a little bit. I guess maybe you could go ahead and just maybe play, because
Sure.
what we've shared, because we sort of give a little bit of an intro to ourselves at that point in time.
That's right.
So I don't know if we run mine first and then we talk, and then run Graham's and then do that.
We can absolutely do that. Yeah. Why don't we do that? I'll pull it up now.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi everybody, Colleen Punter here. My husband Graham and I, we live here in Calgary, Alberta, and we attend Vineyard Community Church. I'm a decorator, designer, I've been a worship leader, and I currently am working on developing an online community for young women who are creative and want to have creative confidence. And so just in mentoring them in regards to that. So I have a lifelong passion with color, movement, and light. And for a number of years, I worked in other areas as far as with other creative mediums. But in about the last 6 years, I finally picked up the paintbrush, because I've had this desire just to get my fingers and my hands, my arms into the whole action of painting. And so I would say I would do abstract expressionism, and I also mainly in acrylic and pastel. Those are the two basic mediums that I use. I find that I use a lot of bright colors, swirls, twirls, anything that just seems to have motion and movement to it. Pinwheels, that kind of thing. That's often a pattern that's within my artwork. Lately, I've been working with black backgrounds, and I really find that to be very effective for creating really dramatic, colorful, and it's just a good foil for light. So I just want to share 3 of my paintings that I've done today. The first one I have is over here, And this is an abstract that I did back in January, and I love this piece primarily because I love the color yellow, and I wanted to do something with yellow. And it feels joyful and feels clean to me. And when I finished it, I looked back and I realized that Jesus had found his way into the image in the shape of a cross. It wasn't what I was expecting to do. I wasn't planning on doing that. It just seemed like a good compositional idea at the time, just putting the different lines. And so, yeah, it just worked out that way. And what I've called this piece is called Treasures Released. It's out of the cross. There's exuberant life that comes. It's like the cross is a gateway into colorful, vibrant kingdom life, and it just beckons us to come in, and also it pours out over us. The second painting I have here, this is a quiet time painting that I did 2 years ago. I was going through a very dark time, and this is what came out of my heart and onto the canvas. You are with me, even when the way goes through Death Valley. I'm not afraid when you walk at my side. Your trusty shepherd's crook makes me feel secure. I just love the little sparkling stars. Hi, this is the third painting that I want to share with you. This painting is the image I saw in a prophetic dream that I had about 15 years ago. In the dream, I was standing in a playground at the base of a hillside north of Rosebud, a small arts community here in Alberta. I was looking up at the night sky when I noticed small wisps of playful northern lights dancing to the northwest. I then heard a crack to the northeast, and I could see there was a huge storm brewing behind billowing clouds and flashes of sheet lightning. Suddenly, the sky began to crack as if God himself was prying back the skin of the sky with all the force of heaven behind him. It was intense. I noticed that there were many people watching from the hillside as well. Some people settled down on blankets to have a family picnic and enjoyed the view, whereas others jumped up and ran for the hills, screaming in sheer terror. I looked back to the south and saw David Ruse standing at a table with all sorts of technical gizmos on it. I realized that he was creating what was happening in the sky. It was an act of worship. I walked back to the table and told him I wanted to play too. This past February at the Vineyard Prayer Summit, during one of the worship sets that David Ruse was leading, I began to paint this image, not initially realizing what I was creating. Originally, I had the canvas vertical and made a few swishes of color onto the black. I could see something and turned the canvas horizontally. I stood back and I was shocked. It was the dream coming to life right before my eyes in real time. David was leading worship. The people at the prayer summit were soaking in the grand beauty of God, and I felt like I was painting what was happening in the spirit over Canada. I've called this painting Northern Lights because it's about Canada. I believe that God is pulling back the curtains of his presence and kingdom in all of its color, movement, sound, in an earth-shattering revelation of his light. He is calling us to play with him in this cacophony of splendor. Vineyard Creatives, God is raising up to reveal his glory in Canada and in the world. He's raising us up. Colossians 3 verse 2 says, "Yes, feast on all the treasures of the heavenly realm and fill your hearts, minds, homes, churches, businesses, communities with heavenly realities and not with the distractions of the natural realm."
Thanks, guys, for that. So, Colleen, if you just thoughts to add to that, or we can go and play Graham's piece as well. So you just let me know how you want to proceed.
I think just as throughout the day, what I've been noticing is there seems to be these two opposites or divine tensions. One is the whole concept as far as light, and then the other one is darkness. And at the time that we're in right now, it seems like there's two different aspects that are happening. And but God is in it all. And I feel like for myself that with that dream, I feel like this is a time where God is cracking open the sky. And I know that other people have mentioned throughout the day that this is the time, like the creatives are coming to life. And yeah, that's just what's in my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. We were reflecting on in our community, like at the Guelph Vineyard, with our daily kind of check-in with each other the other day, about a biblical concept of something that's called like thick darkness versus the empty darkness. And so there's the empty darkness, which is the void, which is, the Lord is not a void, right? That's but this idea of thick darkness being like under soil, it's dark under soil, it's dark in a tomb, it's dark in places where the Lord is at work. And so that was a really helpful sort of space, because even in some of the darker, quote unquote, places that we kind of inhabit sometimes, those can be places that are totally pregnant with the work of the Lord, as well as in the light. And so I think you've articulated that really well. But I found that was a really helpful distinction, the biblical idea of pregnant darkness almost. So as a creative metaphor. But wonderful. Okay, well we'll play through Graham's videos too right here. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody in Google Mania, or Google Landia. How about that? I'm Graham Punter. I'm from Calgary, Alberta. And I like to say that my future is so bright that He has plans for me to prosper. I want to show you pieces of my art that best say what I'm sensing at this time. God is pouring out His hope. He's putting fire into our hearts. Shine your light for all to see what your life can truly be. We are in a great time. Everything is changing. For such a time as this, we have been put on this earth. This has been a great time for me during this whole COVID crisis. I have never caught up on so many projects. But for now, I'd like to show you some of my art. Hi, I'm back again, and the first piece I'm going to show it to you is right down here. It's called Sweet Heavenly Taste, and it was when I was studying in the Old Testament on the Holy of Holies and the Tabernacle, and from the studies I came up with this kind of an abstract symbolic piece, and I used all the colors, red, blue, gold, and purple, and then I used a little bit of a cherubim and the pomegranates, and so here it is. Now what's interesting with this is if you had the red and blue 3D glasses, you begin to see other things, and a little bit of some depth, but you also see that the colors change. And if you switch from your left eye to your right eye, looking only through the red lens or the blue lens at a different time, then it really gets dramatic. And what I got from this was how God sees things. He doesn't just see things in the natural, He sees everything. He sees the ultraviolet, He sees the infrared, He sees the natural light all at the same time. So how much more does He see everything else? Okay, on to the next one. This one here is called Colorful Fish. I got this from a vision about 4 years ago. God was showing me a dream about, or the vision about riding in a boat and going out, and these fishermen were about ready to go and catch their fish, and before they get their nets even out, the fish started leaping in their boats. And then they went back to shore, and we went and collected as many people as we could get, even some that weren't fishermen, and we went out again, and the same reaction, the fish just leaped into the boats. And from this painting, I got the idea that God was sharing with me is that some of those fish will be colorful. Okay, then over to this next one. I call this one Rest, and I see Jesus as this lion, but I decided to take it more into the stone sculpture feel, and showing this solid strength and might. And God is just resting, and the darkness tries to loom in the back, but at some point in time, we know that He will wake and rise and destroy. And there's a confidence in that gives me just that hope that, we can rest with him and not have to worry. Okay, and then the last ones. These are Sanctuary 1 and 2. And when Colleen and I were in Cambridge and Chris was heading up one of the first Imaginariums, there was some talk about sanctuary. What is your sanctuary? So what I did is I kind of mixed my sanctuary, which is nature, mountains and streams, along with cathedrals with their stained glass. So I decided to make these stained glass trees, and here's 2 different variances of them. And both of them maybe speak a slight different message, but you can see the similar feel to them. And that is all. So thank you so much, and hopefully we'll have a good time at this event.
Cool. Well, thanks, friends, for sharing those pieces. One of the first things that popped for me again, is, sort of as we connected when you first came on the call, is just the exuberance of color, and just the connection that you both really have in your work. There's a celebration of how you see God moving, I think, and so in our community, we've been talking locally, we've been talking about kind of what it looks like to tether forward, right? Like what do we hold on to in times where things are really uncertain, and that's part of the thing of being able to make space for those of us who are saying, like, I've never had this much time. I have so much energy and capacity, and other people are like, I have no capacity. And so the Lord is in both of those places. But the tether, it's like the tether through to the grand big story of the Lord, right? Which was again part of, I think, in Dean's song. And so I see that certainly in carrying through, and I'm particularly taken with the intricacy of that one piece that you showed there, Graham. That how long did that take you? That was very, very intricate.
I'd have to look it up. I kind of kept track, but I would say somewhere between 40 and 60 hours.
Yeah, there you go.
I repainted over several sections numerous times, and layered and whatnot. So it took a while. One that seems to be the strongest to me right now is actually the one with the lion. Just in hearing everybody else talking about rest.
Yeah.
And this is what I wrote originally as kind of the thing for it. God is the decompression chamber. Come and sit down beside me, and I will rest with you. Do not worry about the enemy. My ear is tuned to the sounds. I have great might and strength. When the time comes, I will rise and roar. I will destroy the enemy. For now, rest. Speak to me, and I will listen.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for unpacking that and sharing your, just again the so much of what you communicate. Like you communicated a lot in your art, but even just the sunglasses and just the tonality of this, I just really appreciate the brightness. And just in general of what you've presented tonight. So I just really appreciate that. Thank you guys for being part of this. Yeah. So as we, somebody's indicating that we've lost some audio. That's, that's strange. I don't know what's happening here. I just got a text. Interesting. It looks like we still have people who are watching, so I'm going to assume that that's happening. Again, we got a Facebook notice because of, I think, some copyright things. Even though it was the artists that were presenting, that actually happened to Liv and I. We were playing some of our own music, and we got a copyright notice because it's just the way that the algorithms work. Anyway, not to get caught lost in the weeds there, but anyway, just really appreciate you guys. As I get ready to pull Lee into the call here, as we've been doing, just kind of giving everyone, 30 seconds, a minute, just to kind of just some parting words. But just really thank you for preparing this and for sharing your creativity with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'd like to share a couple of quotes. This is a quote that actually Winston Churchill had said as one of his favorites for inspiration. And it was from Rudyard Kipling. "Those that were good should be happy. They will sit in a golden chair. They'll splash at a 10-league canvas with brushes of comet's hair." And then Winston wrote this afterwards. He said, "Happy are the painters, for they shall not be lonely. Light and color, peace and hope will keep them company to the end, or almost the end of the day." He never saw himself as a pillar of the church. He saw himself more as a buttress.
Interesting.
But, then there was this last one he shared. "I rejoice in the brilliant ones, and I am genuinely sorry for the poor browns. When I get to heaven, I mean to spend a considerable portion of my first million years in painting, and so to get to the bottom of the subject. But then I shall require a still gayer palette than I get here below. I expect orange and vermilion to be the darkest, dullest colors upon it. And beyond them, there will be a whole new range of wonderful colors, which will delight the celestial eye." So what I see is, that thing, what is loosed in heaven will be loose on earth, and vice versa. And I see there's so much more that we can do in our worship. And I long to see that day where we can close that gap between what we have here on earth and what we'll see in heaven.
Well, we keep pressing in and to that, and knowing that Jesus is the taste of that for us, for sure, in every capacity, right? Yeah. All right, friends, thank you so much. I appreciate you being part of this, and we'll see you again when we see you next, hey?
Right.
Be well.
Bye.
Lee, hey, man.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. I think you're sideways. If you can turn your phone kind of one way and then turn it back again, sort of seems to...
Did that work?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's a weird quirk with Zoom. Hey, man, welcome. I'm glad we were able to put this together in the end. So awesome.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out and for being part of this. So, there's been a number of different presenters over the course of the day, and some are people I've known for almost 30 years, and others are people who I'm meeting for the first time, right here and now. And so that would be Lee, and I just wanted to give you a chance before we. Are you going to perform your song live, or do you want to use the video? I have either queued up. So
I was thinking about just doing it live.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that would just be easier, and I think it would. I wasn't super happy with the recording, so.
Sure. All right, man. Sounds good. Well, I'll just kind of give you the floor, and you can introduce and play us a song. It's fantastic.
Great.
Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I'm Lee Adkins. I'm in the United States. I'm in Colorado. And I've got this song called "Through You," based primarily off of the Beatitudes and off of the different contexts in Galatians that just talks about the fruits of the Spirit. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Awesome.
So I guess I'll play it, and then we can kind of talk back and forth about it.
Yeah.
As you see fit, and then
Yeah,
you
sounds
can kick
good,
me
man.
off. All right. Through you, God, I will be still. When the storms of life come crashing in, through you, God, I will be kind. And I'll show the world your compassion. And I fall to my knees. I lift up my hands. I praise you, Lord. I give you all that I am, all that I am. Oh, you, God, I believe. That you have great plans for me. Through you, God, I belong. As you welcome me with open arms, and I fall to my knees. I lift up my hands. I praise you, Lord. I give you all that I am. I fall to my knees. I lift my hands. I praise you, Lord. I give you all that I am, all that I am. Oh, oh, because I believe that I belong, I will be strong. Because I believe that I belong, I will be strong. Because I believe that I belong, I will grow, yeah. Because I believe that I belong, I will grow. Fall to my knees. Lift my hands, I praise you, Lord. I give you all that I am, all that I am.
Thank you, Lee. That was I appreciate you sharing that into the. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, sorry. So, in the background of this, it looks like some of our previous presenters were presenting copyright, like their songs, but they were copywritten, so they were out in the. So Facebook flagged the video, so I'm not sure how many people are actually watching, even though it was the artists that were presenting their own songs. But anyway, yeah, no, thanks for presenting that and stepping into the space of the the beatitudinal kind of world, which is such a challenging thing. Yeah, in your space there, what's this sort of season been like for you guys, and how has it kind of influenced or spoken into your kind of creative life? That's kind of been one of the themes that's been coming up throughout the course of this festival. Yeah, what's kind of that been like for you?
Yeah, that's a great one. So I work as a youth pastor at the church that I go to in Vineyard, the Vineyard Church here in Colorado. And I also am in the Air National Guard for the military. And a couple of weeks ago, I got activated, my unit and I. And the big thing that we do right now is we work with local churches. We work with other community organizations, and we're working on helping COVID positive homeless people find food and shelter and make sure that they are able to get back on their feet.
Wow.
So yeah, this song really came out of a place of just sheer nothingness. Like, even though we are, going through this time of some of us have been laid off of jobs or some of us, have taken a cut in pay or these things, there's still that whole other population, the homeless people mostly who didn't have anything to begin with. And they were living their lives on the streets and on their knees and, crying out at that point to God. And then this happens, right? And so it's just been an amazing opportunity to see just what the Word of God and what Jesus taught so much actually has been doing, putting us together. It's really been creating that time where it's like, okay, this is where I came from, this is what I've been doing, but this is where I'm at now and who I'm helping.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, it's significant, and must be interesting, even just in the space of sort of reflecting on the Beatitudes and the kind of upside down world of Jesus, and then kind of engaging with people on that, kind of on the furthest far flung spaces, right? Of that. I mean, that's got to be very, very compelling and challenging. I bet some of the things that you're, being called into. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an incredible and difficult situation to, be there as a military presence wanting to help. And then also being a pastor, trying to help with not just that physical, but that emotional and spiritual need as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, grace to you in that. And one of the themes that has come up over and over again today has been just kind of, and not just songwriters, because we've had like a wide variety of different creatives kind of contributing, but the space where we're like cultivating language that it costs us something to be able to say these things, because there's truth, right? And that right into truth in that. And then it sounds like there's experiences that you're having that are going to infuse your language, and kind of, we've talked about this again as a pretty consistent theme throughout the last, believe it or not, 12 hours or so we've been doing this. Yeah, just that space of where, even the words that we've written and the work that we've done previously, it sort of takes on new connotations and new invitations.
Yeah.
And so thanks for being vulnerable and sharing into this space, into this, it's been very, very encouraging. And so, yeah, thanks, man. It's, and bless
Thank you.
in the various ways that you're serving. And both in practical ways and helps, and in just the creativity and the various ways that creativity is going to express itself through you. So yeah, I really appreciate you being part of this.
Thank you for hosting this and putting this on. This has been a really cool opportunity.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's been a real gift. It's been a real gift for me too. So. All right, Lee. Well, I am going to put you back into the green room there, and then you can kind of exit the Zoom call from there. And but be well and take care out there. Hey.
Great. Thanks.
All right, man. Let me just do.
God bless
here.
you guys.
Yeah, and to you. Heidi. Oh, you're still muted here. Let me unmute you. Oh, there you go. You're good. Yeah. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, you get to bring up the anchor on this. You are the last presenter for this. We're at 12 and a half hours of.
I know. It's quite a marathon.
Quite a beautiful moment. Now, we'll get just sort of disclosure. I think that we may still be live on YouTube, but there's a strange thing that happened, and because some of the artists who presented this evening, it's their own music, but it's copywritten, and so I think the feed has been shut down on Facebook for some.
Oh no!
Yeah, so that's kind of unfortunate. But anyway, so there won't be like a resonance or people commenting back or whatever a whole lot. But I'm so grateful that you're part of the chorus of this. And you're gonna sing a song or two for us.
I am.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So hey, why don't I just give you the floor? And I do know that there's at least a couple of people who are watching at this point, so it's not quite out to the whole internet, but there's still a precious few who will be able to take this in and enjoy what you have. So I'll just give you the floor, and you can do what you do.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm Heidi, and I'm brand new to songwriting. It just started, I guess, this past January. And one of the songs was written just this past Sunday during our church worship service at the Abbey Vineyard. The song is called Draw Me In, and it's based off of kind of that up and down of your relationship with God, and just how sometimes God really uses moments to draw you in deeper. Like sometimes during the week, you might just forget or walk away or whatever, but just He's always there. And when you do reconnect, there's just that refreshing moment and that reconnection. That's kind of the basis of this song. And it's the one that I'll start with. I'm playing it on my little ukulele. It's been broken many times, but it's very trustworthy.
That's fantastic. My wife plays ukulele too in our outfit, our band, and we're a big fan of that instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So portable. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the song. So
great. Go for it.
Come back to me, you say. Every week I run away. Your presence remains here, reminiscent of breakthrough. As tears stream down my face, heart yearning yet complete. as if I'm coming home, known by the one who truly sees me. Bring us your joy amid suffering. Come back to me, you say. Every week I run away. Your presence remains here, reminiscent of breakthrough. Tears stream down my face. Heart yearning yet complete, as if I'm coming home, known by the one who truly sees me. Bring us your joy amid suffering. Be near me, oh God. Remind me over once again. And draw me in. Draw me in. Draw me in.
That is, so you're just brand new to this, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let me encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, because it's a pretty good starting block to start off from. It's lovely. Just really appreciate the there's such an uplift in your melody, and yeah, I just really appreciate that. Thank you. That's lovely.
Thanks.
Yeah. So you're gonna play another song for us too?
I can.
I would love it if you would.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one was written by my niece, who just turned 9 this week. And so this was right at the very beginning of songwriting, so probably back in like late January.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I was like, what should we write a song about? And she's like, peace. And I was like, okay, what do you want to say about it? She's like, oh, it's just something that I know. I was like, well, how do you know? She's like, I just feel it. I was like, okay. She's like, I just know it to be real. And so this song kind of was birthed out of that. And then my nephew chipped in with some more lyrics about waves and the waves of life just crashing down. So this one I haven't actually played on the ukulele. Usually I play it on the guitar, but I'm not a great guitarist. So we'll give it a shot on this one. Peace is something that I know, something that I feel, something that inside I know to be real. When it's quiet, when it's still, when I know that you are near. When it's quiet, when it's still, when I know that you are here. When the waves of life are all around, when the waves of life come crashing down. Because even in the depths, in the ebbs and flows, I can let it wash away, because I know peace is something that I know, something that I feel, something that inside I know it to be real. When it's not quiet and isn't even still,
But this I think that's an appropriate song for the time. It's an invitation into something that's it doesn't need to be complicated. And but I just want to encourage you to keep pressing into this songwriting thing. It's a strange time to come into your own as with taking on a new discipline, a new expression. But let me just encourage you that you have something that is really worth developing here. And if we had the Facebook feed up with people commenting, I'd be able to pull on more of that, because it would be there. But there are people on YouTube. I was able to confirm that there are some people. Anyway, thanks for seeing this and for contributing and sharing, lending your voice to this space. If I could just ask you, how has this season been for you? What does it look like in the various ways that your spirit is a creative living thing? How is this season for you as a creative person?
Yeah, the first 2 weeks I was actually on spring break. I'm a music teacher, and being on lockdown and on spring break and not having work or anything to do and not being able to go out, there was a lot of blank space. And music became an arena for processing. And so I started doing a lot of recording, and I would spend like hours and hours a day just like playing and singing, and the music just like flowed. There was a lot of creativity going on. And then after a couple of weeks, I started work back up again, and then things got crazy and hectic, and the music got put on the side. And this week I was just really refreshed on Sunday, which is where that song came out of.
Wonderful.
I was listening to Andy Park. He was doing our worship. And I like just turned it off because I couldn't play E major on my ukulele, as you could tell by the previous song. But it was just like he was sharing just a couple words and that song Cherry Blossoms. And so just hearing other creatives create. And I think he played a few other leaders have been playing songs that they've been writing. And so there was just a refresher, and my home group has been encouraging me, be like, sign up for the thing on Saturday. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome. And actually, it doesn't surprise me when you speak of it coming out of an overflow. It actually sounds like that. There's something about that feels, which I think is a really refreshing thing. So, thank you so much for this. I feel like it's a really kind of a good note for us to close out this gathering on. And so thank you, Heidi. I just appreciate your vulnerability and getting up and doing it. And it's excellent work.
And thank you for all of the work that you've been doing hosting. Like, that's a really long day for you. And it's so incredibly appreciated. The work that you've done, and I'm sure there's many other people behind the scenes, just creating a space for us to share with one another. I know for me, it's been very encouraging. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been encouraging for me as well. So, all right. Well, with that, I think I'm going to pray out like a benediction kind of thing, and send us off. It's fairly late for me, so I my eyes are small, and that's usually the sign that the hour has come. So Lord, I thank you for the riches of this day. Lord, I thank you for your kindness to us, and just for the myriad ways that your voice has resonated in all of these voices and all of these expressions throughout the course of this day. Lord, I pray that these would be seeds that would be planted, and as we've prayed or acknowledged, there's both darkness and light in this season. And so, Lord, we pray that there would be seeds that would be in the darkness of the soil. And Lord, we know that soil is cold and dark sometimes, but life is there. And so, Lord, we pray that life would come into those places. And Lord, as well, the seeds that have seen light and are in the light and growing and blossoming, Lord, we speak a courage and an encouragement to that as well. And Lord, just thank you for the great deposit that you've given us as a community. We pray these things and we celebrate your name. In Jesus' name. Amen. And so with that, both to Heidi and to all who are still watching those on YouTube and wherever, thank you so much for being part of this. We will, I'm sure, do it again because this was a lot of fun. And one of the unlooked for, unexpected gifts that get revealed in a strange time that we call the COVID times. So thank you, Lord, and thank you, friends. Be well.